Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Wednesday. It's February 5th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And we had this big spike up in the overnight, probably from the Trump um, State of the Union address last night. But we shot up on that, trended down a little bit, and then once we made this higher low and started going higher again, I'd look for another leg up. You want to look for even though that's a pretty big leg, so you may not get a measured leg. You can put it over there and use that for your target, but I'd probably start from here and move this over. That's where we started higher again. And you can see we didn't quite make that. Of course, there's still 30 minutes left in the day, but I don't see us making that. It's possible. We've got this trend channel working up right here, and we can't seem to. We did break above it a little bit, but that looks more like an overshoot at this point. So, but yeah, we spiked up, then corrected a little bit. This is almost sideways. Notice how prices are above and below the EMA, but there is a clear two-tiered channel working lower here, so you can't ignore that fact. But because it's swinging back and forth above and below the EMA, you can trade that both ways. Just be careful. Make sure that the moves to the upside have played out before you try to get short. And then make sure the moves to the upside off the lows have played out before you try to get long. So that's the keys to it, really. But quite a few trades in here. I'm going to go ahead. I'm doing this a little early before the market closes today because I need to get out of here pretty quickly. So I'm going to move through these trades, talk about the trades here. I'm going to back on out, and I'm going to try to move through them pretty quickly today and keep this a little shorter than 30 minutes is what we've been our normal lately is about 30 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes. But anyway, 7 o'clock came right in here. There's actually a second entry short here. I think that's just a tad before 7 o'clock. It's not a really good setup. This is not a very good signal bar. It's not a bad signal bar, but that's a little before 7. 7 came right here as the reversal's coming. And you can see that we got some support here, a little double bottom. And then we got a failed second entry short. Notice that new low. You're moving up first entry, and then you make a second entry short right there that reverses real quickly. This probably moves more than 4 ticks, but I'd still look at that like a reversal and look for that to run back up higher here. And I draw my trend line there as well. And this thing does. It runs back up. And, of course, if you copy your trend line over, it's fitting nicely on the other side. We actually get another second entry long right here that I like, but I don't like my signal bar. It's too bearish. So if you had a good signal bar there, by all means, you want to go long there. And you had another little pullback here on a higher low, but then you got to go long right into that resistance and right into what could be, you probably wouldn't have this trend line yet. So I drew it off these first 2 swings. And then, of course, once you put it in here, the midline tends to fit, and eventually we came on down to this line too. So but we were bouncing a little early in there early on. So you might have had this a little tighter early on, but it doesn't matter. This is really just sideways stuff here. We just came off the lows, so we're probably headed back to the highs. So I like that one. Again, I would be shooting for these highs now if you had a setup here. But once you got right up here in this resistance, you can't go long right into this right here. Hopefully you can see that. But you got a good bit of resistance right across there, and that would have taken you long right into it. Instead, you just get a failure. There's a lower high here, but I'd wait on a true failure, which comes here, and you get a nice bearish bar. Good place to go short. And really, you could treat this like a double top, and so first entry, second entry. And this actually, the main reason I like this was it broke higher first and failed and turned and went out the other side. I like going short there. You're looking for prices to probably come back down here at this point. That's what it's looking like. It actually goes a little lower, but then it bounces. So this was a nice setup right here. There's another one here, but you're getting too far away from the EMA now. You may treat that like you could treat that like a double top, and then you get another failure here. And again, it broke higher, then turned and went out the other side. So that one's a possibility. But you're getting really close to the lows here, although there still is enough room to get out. I just don't like how far away we're getting from the EMA. I will make that one green though. If you want to be a little aggressive, that's a good one to be aggressive with. And you can see the bottom drops on down. And then we do make a new low here. It's not a new overnight low of the day, but it's a new low into the regular session opening, which is not really anything key, but we're just so far away from the EMA on an overshoot and such a bullish bar. You may take that one. You're better off to wait on this one. Here's your higher low. Still, look how far away you are. That's the ideal trade. Boom, off it goes. And if you caught either one of those, that's a great trade. You can just kind of ride that up. Could have got several points out of that. And of course, it looks like we're going to turn back down, and you end up just getting a second entry long right there. Notice that high, first entry, pull back. When it breaks higher right here, it's a second entry long. And you got your little trend line to break and a new low on a second entry long when we're still looking for prices to go a little higher. That's a good setup. There's a higher low here too, and it broke lower, and I thought it was going to go out the other side, but when it didn't and made that 2-bar matching high and this closes really low, I don't think I'd go long there. I'd just skip that trade. Now you're back up here to the trend line again. It reverses. And you shoot right through the EMA and pull back. And that's just a first entry short, but look how bearish that bar is. It's so big that there's no way I would actually enter on a sell stop down here. What I'd do is let this break lower and then drop a limit order back here and one tick below that bar, which was your original signal bar. This made an equal high, so either one of them can be your signal bar. But I'd want a little better entry than that, than trying to enter way down here. And so that's a possibility. I marked it green. It's not a great trade, but anyway. We come down here and we get a break. This is really a double bottom, so move up first entry, second entry. There's two legs up, but again, I don't have a very good signal bar, and it's a shame because that's a great move. So if you had a good signal bar there, by all means, you want to take that trade. And I almost would like that trade on being more aggressive, just taking an aggressive second entry short right there. But the thing I was thinking was, let's just see if we get a lower high, but we never did. You get a lower high, but it's way down here, and you don't want to be going short down here. So this was really the first correction. Notice you made a new low there, and you get a first entry, then you run up. So when it breaks lower there, you got another second entry short, which I like taking that because you didn't have much correction here. So there's a good chance you come back down and test these lows again. Sure enough, we do. Lower high here, but now you've got too much support down here. Same thing here, another lower high. That's actually a second entry short. Notice that new low, first entry, and it pulls back. Second entry short, but you don't want to go low, short way down there. Not into what looks like the trend channel line. It bounces. You get a first entry short. You move on through the EMA. You get a second entry short that fails. That's where you want to go long. And off it goes. This is actually the arrow pointing up. This is your trend line here. Move that just so not confusing. And then watch it come up here. We make a little double bottom here, and then a little higher low here, right at the EMA. And this actually broke lower and worked up. And notice there's a new high, first entry. So when it broke higher right there, it's a second entry. But that's an inside bar. You might have entered there. If you did, your stop had to go down here. But I wasn't crazy about that because this is an inside bar and it is right into the EMA. But when we came back and made another higher low, and that's really a double test. right there as well. Notice you made the low, you tested once, twice, and look how bullish that bar is. You may not could have got in that one because it gapped over and kept going. It did pull back here and bounce again, but I wouldn't enter there, and you see it wouldn't have worked. You would have got stopped out. It wouldn't be worth it. But notice what happens. You work back up and you get a lower high here. This actually breaks lower and turns and goes out the other side. I like going long there. You're still looking for prices to come up here, so it runs up and we just get stuck in this. I don't see any entries in there. Just stay out of that. That's just one of those areas where you're better off to ignore it. Just stay out of that. But notice what happens. You push through, pull back, and you get a lower high with a big bearish bar below the EMA. You may take that because if you draw this trend line across these highs and drag it down, you know the trend line's way down here. And so you could have gotten this trend line off the highs and been waiting on it to come back here. And there's actually a midline in there too. And you can see that midline right in there. I think I'm pretty close just to be kind of eyeballing it. So that's a good short back to the trend line. And then notice you got a little trend line working down through there, and you suddenly close outside, you get a new low, and then you make a new low, and then it broke below this bearish bar, runs down, fails, and comes back out the other side. I like having a buy stop right there. And this was kind of, you're coming off what you think is a trend line, so you expect prices to go higher, but this was just like another little nice surprise. It runs up, and there's a little. Notice that you don't have any breaks lower all the way up until once, twice. So there's a double test right there. But I'm just so far away from the EMA. But this is a strong move, and so you may want to be aggressive with that one. I'll give it a green one because it is a double test right there of the trend line up here. And of course, see, it doesn't go very far, and you actually get a failed second entry long right there. So all these people looking to buy up here don't know any better. That's a good place to go short. I did make it green because technically it broke higher here, but it didn't fail till here. So that's really your failed second entry short. But now you've really got a first entry, second entry, and then now a third entry long. So it's kind of a, if it was going to take off, you would think it would have taken off on the second entry. But of course, your second entry signal bar wasn't any good either. So when this turn, I think you're better off just to sit tight until you see it's a trap, and then I like it. And this is why we go for 4 ticks, because there's just enough here to get to scalp out of this trade. If you'd had to get one more tick, you wouldn't have. And notice it comes back up again before it really shoots on down to the trend line again. So that's what I'm always talking about. You got to be sure that this move to the upside is over, which you think it should be here, but they still create a little trap and then run it back down anyway. And I don't like going short here because now you're in a range and you don't know that it's going to push on through, even though it does. And notice we bounce off the trend line again. Then you make a first entry short right there. You try to go higher again. You make a second entry short. And this actually goes lower first and then turns, goes out the other side. I like going long right there. And it actually pulls back again here. But now you're going long right into a little double top, so I'm not as crazy about entering there. If you didn't enter here, then I'd skip this one. And of course, it comes back to the trend line again and gives you a first entry long. But there's a little double test in there. I don't have my sideline there, but you could just call it a double test off the original trend line anyway. But there's the little support line. We made it. We tested once. We tested twice. Nice bullish bar right at you got support from here. You got support from the original longer trend line as well. And you got a nice little small bullish bar And again, that turns out to be a great trade. And that took us on up in the 2 o'clock hour. There's a little pullback here. A little breakout pullback, but that looks like that's too congestive, a little bit away from the EMA. And when you kept going sideways, there's a little breakout pullback right here, but you're getting away from the EMA. If I didn't enter here, I'd probably skip that trade. And of course, that took us into the 2 o'clock hour. So pretty good trading day again today. Not too difficult to find this early on. And of course, we made an overshoot and then it just reversed. We made the break and it tried to go lower, but it just kept going. So, which that's not unexpected because this was a big move up and you expect a possible second leg up. There was a big gap. This is where the gap was. So it didn't surprise me that we tried really hard right here to fill it, but prices just couldn't do it. We even tried to come back again here, but this thing just keeps going up. And now we're back above, 30 points above the 30,000 mark again. So, or 3,300, I should say. We're 35 points above the 3,300 level. So we're almost we're headed back up, trying to make new highs again, probably. And it looks like, we're shoving forward again. Who knows? Still about 10 minutes to go. I don't see them filling that gap in 10 minutes, but it's always possible. So anyway, I got to get out of here shortly, so I'm going to wrap it up. I hope you had a good trading day. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.